Hey everybody, Rob here. Just want to remind you to hit those 5 stars or leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts like this awesome one from Rowdy Riz that says, every time I listen, people probably look at me funny because I'm just sitting in my office or car with a smile on my face or laughing out loud. Love this podcast. That's awesome. And I want to remind everybody, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is playing our podcast loudly for all to hear. So get to it. Enjoy the show. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of You, Me, and He, a podcast that'll make you feel about as useful as a poopy-flavored lollipop. I am your host, Rob Lambert, and I'm joined by my co-host.
This is Josh Frankenstein.
And Drew Carroll.
That's right. And fellas, holy crap. Can we just get right down to it and talk about the trailer for Avengers Infinity War?
Please do. Please do.
Can I just tell you, a semi-long-haired, bearded Captain America is the Captain America I never knew that I needed.
Oh my god!
But that I will always need from now on.
Oh, looks like the savior of the world needs.
Doesn't he?
What if he's hipster Captain America?
I don't think he's hipster Captain America, man.
Let's get all the plastic out of the ocean.
He looks like aged wise Captain America.
Yeah, dude.
You know, like he's been spending his time in the jungles of Africa. Training with Black Panther.
Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, dude. And just like ready to like kill you in one punch.
That moment when freaking Black Panther says, get this man a shield. And then you see him silhouetted. And I'm like, and then that last scene, dude, where he's just running in the jungle with everybody behind him. And I'm just like, where have you been all my life? Like, new man crush. Let's get a beer. Let's hang out.
Dude, it's
amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean, it looks awesome, man. I mean, this looks like salt of the earth Captain America. That's what I like about it.
I got to be honest with you. I was this close to just ditching Cyclops, but then I remembered my true love. So it's not going to happen.
I wish you'd abandoned that one.
Dang it.
It's going to rock, man.
Yeah.
I'm just fanboying out, but it was amazing to watch. I love it so much.
Did you guys catch Thor Ragnarok yet?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
have not made it there.
Dude, I have to say, this is probably one of the best films I've ever seen. I mean, it rivals Guardians of the Galaxy in humor. Like, I mean, just out of nowhere, like really, really good humor. Like, it's hilarious, man. A lot of sarcasm. And then you take that and they've brought all these characters in, man. And there's a moment in the movie where, spoilers all.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Spoilers, everybody. Get ready.
When Thor tries to create his own team with him and the Hulk and Valkyrie warrior, and he calls them the Revengers.
He's like, oh, we're trying to kind of put together a team.
Yeah, dude. And it's hilarious because at the end of the film, like, or even halfway through, he was like, yeah, Revengers is kind of a bad name. It was a really great movie, man. I mean, there's a lot of like, subtle twists and turns, and at the end, you're like pleasantly surprised with how it comes out, and it was like actually a great ending. I loved it, man. If you're a Guardians fan, you have got to see that flick, dude, because it is so good.
Yeah. And dude, can I just say, like, once again, in the sense of, okay, getting a glimpse of, long-haired, bearded Captain America, and you're like, where has this guy been my whole life? Can I just say Thor with a freaking eye patch?
Oh, dude.
Legitimate.
Shaved head, still got the beard, but with the eye patch, man, like, he is taken over for Odin. Like with that whole look.
Everybody's just
awesome,
going
dude.
BA, dude.
Yeah.
BA mode for everyone.
It's so awesome, man. Yeah. Prerequisite.
You gotta get your eye poked
in order to rule the universe, you gotta lose an eye.
You gotta Cyclops it.
Exactly. See, now you're understanding, Drew. Thank you. It's about freaking time. There you
He must have complained his way to the top then.
Whatever, man. Can I just say, though, dude, Infinity War, I think they've pretty much said that there's going to be some people that are going to go down, man. We're going to lose some folks.
Oh,
Bro,
yeah. That's got to happen.
What if it's the Cap? What if it's Captain America?
It very well could be, man. I mean, Steve Rogers died in the comic. It's very possible. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But
it's reality.
Yeah. It's reality.
They're going to build him up. They're going to build him up to a beautiful man just to take him away from us.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I've gone a little too far over the deep end of talking how beautiful he is. I'm done.
Yeah, you should really stop. You're starting to sound like Cyclops.
Yeah, next
Love blow
subject.
continues. Whatever. So how you doing, Josh?
I'm doing all right. I've got actually quite a few topics to kind of go over. Amy and I, we were visiting some friends over the Thanksgiving holiday. I had to go pick up a car up in Vacaville. And on the way there, we were listening to the Comedy Central station on Sirius XM, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this, comedian that's, on stage and performing. And he starts talking about elevators, right? In his routine. And he's going into it, and he starts to talk about what his worst fear is, being in an elevator. And yeah, I'm starting to cringe. And Amy's heard the show, so she's listening, and she can kind of see where it's going, and she sees me kind of getting, a little apprehensive or just anxious about what's going to come next, right? Because I don't want to make it look like I've ripped off someone's material. I mean, that was like my personal thing, man. It just started entering my head, Anyway,
it's also become my personal thing.
You know what, man? I have actually received some text messages and emails from people that said that that's starting to become their personal thing. Also.
Something I never thought about before.
Yeah, dude.
Always thinking,
congratulations, Josh. You started a movement.
Yeah, I know, right? Decolotolo.
Yeah, sir.
Decolotolophobia.
Please take the stairs. Please don't go in that elevator.
Hey, once again,
get shirts made, man. Get
another Thursday, man. I'm just walking up the stairs again. I've just decided to bypass the elevator. Even more so now because of this guy, this comedian, right? Uh-huh. So he starts talking about being trapped in an elevator and how nothing about being in an elevator is scary. But what he's terrified of is that he's going to get stuck on an elevator and then he's going to have to take a dump. So his greatest fear was that he's going to be stuck on an elevator with a beautiful woman and he's going to have to go crap in the corner.
Oh, man.
And so I started thinking about it today, right? I come into the office after I've just had 3 cups of coffee and then it hits me. I got to go to the restroom. So I'm staring at the elevator doors and I'm like, yeah, no, never again. Just walk away to go take the stairs because I'm like, I'm not getting decapitated and I'm not taking a dump in the corner with a beautiful woman.
Dude, how great is your life if your worst fear is having to take a dump on an elevator that you're trapped in with a girl? Are you kidding me? That's the only thing you're afraid of?
Oh, man.
Look on the bright side. If for some reason the elevator did get stuck and then you did have to take the dump, the best thing that could happen to you to relieve you from the embarrassment is to get your head cut off. So no matter which way you slice it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
The one time you would want that to happen, it doesn't happen.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway, Drew, you're on, man.
Oh, dude, my week was awesome.
It was awesome. Huh?
Yeah, I spent the Thanksgiving holiday in Hawaii with my wife and her family, and it was absolutely
You didn't die on the plane. That's amazing.
Yeah. I didn't die on the plane. So I faced 2 fears this past week. Okay, I got on the plane and I flew 5.5 hours to an island out in the middle of this gigantic ocean, right?
Yeah.
That we know less about than we know about Mars.
And then you got into an elevator to go to your room.
Okay, hang on, I'll get there. I'll get there. Oh, no. But dude, for whatever, I haven't swam in the ocean in who knows how long because there's just an infinite amount of things out there that could kill any one of us.
Yeah.
So, but I got there and I was like, well, shoot, I flew 5.5 hours to get here and I made it.
Right.
I might as well try the ocean.
Yeah.
So I get out in the ocean.
Dicey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I start swimming out there, and then every wave I see, I notice I'm scanning for stuff in it, right? Like something that might be coming for me. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just go back to the beach.
I'm just going to go lay down. You know what? Those turtles over there, I'm going to go hang out with those turtles.
You know what? It all looks just as nice from back there. I'm not missing anything up here in the front. So that was good. I did go swimming quite a bit, and, it was an awesome time. But luckily, I got to come back and go back to petitioning. Okay.
Oh, yay.
So
you left
From
one
paradise
island
to even more
to come to another island.
Yeah. When they said that no man is an island, that guy never petitioned. Okay? When you're petitioning, you're the only one who cares about you there.
That's amazing.
So yesterday was like a terrible day. It was a terrible first day back, dude. Like I was like, why do I even do this? I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't know why you do it.
Well, then we went, I don't know. Sometimes people thank me and I think they're weird. Like, thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
like,
get out of here. Thanks. I got your signature.
No, that doesn't make sense.
You're like, you're just a number to me. Get out of here.
Yeah, most people hate me. It's weird that you like me. So we're working at a college today, and this girl walks by, and my buddy pitches her, and he goes, "Hey, ma'am, sign our petition against, for repeal on the gas tax." And she goes, no, not right now. Maybe later. And he goes, "I'll take that as a solid maybe." And she goes, "Well, I'm going to eat lunch right now. It'll be solid after that." And dude, this is like a 19-year-old, like
That's dirty.
oh yeah,
That's
dude.
Bazinga.
dirty. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was.
Oh man, that's bad. That's like you might as well just pack up your stuff and go home.
Oh, dude, I felt really weird about it, but at the same time, like, we had a full table of people, and I could not stop laughing, dude. Like, I felt like a little kid.
You're just sitting there giggling the whole time.
Well, yeah, because everyone's sitting there signing, and they're not even paying attention, and then all of a sudden, me and my buddy start dying laughing, and I feel like a little kid because we're laughing at a poop joke. Yeah. And we're older than everybody there.
No, dude, it doesn't matter how old you get. A good poop joke's always funny. It will stay funny for a long time too. I don't care. You know. Oh.
Yeah, dude. So I don't have any complaints so far.
Yeah.
Tune in next week. Give me more time back at the job.
Speaking of things that are kind of crappy, our main discussion. Our main discussion topic tonight is going to be something that I think is going to maybe draw a little bit of controversy. There's going to be people who there's going to be people who totally disagree, and then there's going to be people who are like, "Thank you so much."
Yep.
I doubt there's going to be too many that disagree with me.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. So tonight, what we're talking about is our top 3 crappy bands that are actually amazing.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to break down these 3 bands that everybody loves to hate, everybody loves to make fun of, but at the end of the day, if you really get down to brass tacks, they're pretty awesome. They're pretty amazing for what they do. So who wants to go first? Who wants to unleash this Pandora's box?
I will unleash this Pandora's box. Mostly because I feel like this band is one of the most debated in America. And yes, I am speaking of the one, the only Canadians from the North, Nickelback. That's right. Yes.
That is obviously,
Yeah. Yeah. So let's start with why they're crappy. Okay. There are a lot of opinions. Okay.
Play 11 of their songs at the same time, and they'll follow the same structure.
So that's the thing, man. Like, every album is almost exactly the same. Like, writing structure. I mean, from first song to closing song, they've got a ballad in there. They've got, one of their harder songs, and they all follow the same format. That's one of the things that makes them terrible. And I think that's one of the things that people don't like about them, and that they're not really hard music. Like, they claim to be rock and roll, hard music, but they're not really hard music. And it gets stale. So,
well, their hits mostly aren't. If you dig into the record, there's harder Southern rock.
There is.
Oddly coming from a northern.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I would classify it as. It's definitely Southern rock.
Yeah. Along
all their
lines.
hits are their ballads for the most part.
Yeah, it's the pop
Southern
stuff.
Canadian rock.
Yeah. Southern Canadian, which is just north of North Dakota, I think. So
I mean, if they're south of Alaska, it's technically not wrong.
Oh man,
dude. At the end of the day, I honestly believe that a lot of the hate comes from, and I think I'm guilty of this too. A lot of the hate comes for Chad Kroeger himself. Like,
probably,
if
the jealousy
in a vacuum. Yeah, exactly. The jealousy of his hair and like just
he cut it.
His ability to just write those like hypersexual lyrics all the time.
Yeah, dude.
Well, okay, I think that's part of the problem is that years ago when they first came out, VH1 had him on like the top 10 fugly list.
Yeah, dude.
And that's not good
was
for
Fuse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fuse.
They weren't around very long either, so it's not very reputable.
Oh, man.
Fuse was the VH1 of the 2000s until it wasn't anything anymore.
Oh, no one likes music anymore.
Dang it.
Yeah, yeah.
No, dude, I honestly think that a lot of the hate comes via Chad Kroeger, which how much of that is legitimate? I mean, dude, at the end of the day, like, he writes some catchy stuff.
He writes hit after hit.
And I think that's actually one of the things that people don't like.
Absolutely. You know what, dude? When I was living in LA, I think that more of people's dislike of Nickelback came from jealousy, to be honest with you. Like, this is from other musicians, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, those guys suck.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I bet it does suck to be on a tour bus for, 300 days a year, have a mansion, quads.
Yeah. Everyone who says that they suck just says, dude, they suck, man.
And
you like Nickelback?
Anyone
they suck.
who says I would never play in Nickelback, I just have to discredit
Lies.
anything you say after that.
Yeah.
Lies. Yeah, total lies.
You know,
I would never improve my life.
Yeah. So I've taken a lot of knocks in my life because I've actually stood by that band for a really long time. Despite whatever setbacks they might have based on people's opinions, they put on one of the best shows I've ever seen, man. And you cannot disagree with multi-platinum album after multi-platinum album.
Laid to rest, I think Nickelback kills it.
Dude, they're one of the greatest bands of all time.
Dang you, Chad Kroeger.
Yeah.
We hate to love you, but we can't help it.
All right, Rob, what do you have?
Okay, here's the deal. It's one of those bands that everybody loves to hate, everybody likes to make fun of. Nobody likes to admit that they like to listen to it. But, dude, not too long ago, I just went back and I dove deep into the hole and went for it, and I'm rehooked. I'm talking about Creed. Okay. Now here's the deal.
Before you go anywhere, I just have to say this, man. There was once upon a time, you picking this band almost makes you a little hypocritical because I remember you talking about Creed being butt rock.
Okay, here's the deal.
And you hated them when they came out.
Dude, when you get older, being a dad, I think, changes you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
all right. That being said, I'm going to let you go.
When you get your dad card, suddenly butt rock isn't so bad. No, here's the deal.
With arms wide open makes you tear up.
That's exactly right. I hope he's not like me. No, here's the deal. When it comes to Creed, they're totally butt rock. There's no doubt for that. But here's the deal. I'm going to give them a pass on a few things because I went back and I listened to the album Weathered from front to back.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's crazy about it is, like, number one, you cannot deny the genius, and I don't think anybody would, of Mark Tremonti as far as a guitar player and his writing. Like,
one of my favorite guitarists ever, man. The guy is amazing.
Yeah, he has the ability to write huge as one guy. As one guitar player. Yeah. It's amazing. And then when you listen to especially that album, Weathered, I think that is an album where they really found their sound and kind of like where they needed to go as a band. And here's the thing that I'll say. When it comes to Creed, I honestly believe that, the idea that video killed the radio star, I think that when it comes to Creed, if you hear them audio-wise, if you hear them in a vacuum, I think they're amazing. But the moment that you see Scott Stapp on video, it just kills it for some reason, dude.
Dude, what? You didn't go out and buy some pleather pants? and a wife beater? Yeah, and a wife beater. Hey, you know what's even worse is the sucked-up version of him is the singer from Tantric. Do you remember that band? He was like this, like the less filled-out version of him.
Well, and here's the deal. Like, I think that when you go and you watch their music videos, like, they are so cringe-worthy, like, they're so bad. And I was actually doing some studying and some like looking into them and found out that there was like this one producer who was actually behind most of them. And My Sacrifice was actually the first video that they had full creative control on. And when you look at that, dude, I mean, I just think a lot of damage was done to them during their run because of the music videos and
That's
visually.
very possible.
seeing Scott Stapp, I mean, he's just cringy sometimes on video, man.
Well, you know, that's just Scott Stapp, man. I mean, he's got the biggest chipmunk cheeks of any person I've ever seen.
Yeah, dude, and the drinking didn't help, dude. When those things turn red.
Oh gosh, man. It was like Rudolph had two noses, like on his face, you know? Just, like, yeah. You want to talk about someone who probably should have made the fugly list, man. The all-time fugly list. He should have been on there too.
I think he was already out of everyone's scope. You know what I mean?
Creed wasn't even being talked about anymore, right? Yeah. No, I have to laugh because you're talking about their music videos, man, and I get where they were going to a certain degree, right? Because I remember, like, what was their first #1 hit? Higher, right? Does everybody remember that music video?
Yep.
It had like the bullet time where like it paused and the camera's panned, kind of like Matrix.
And he's in like the weirdest pose.
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's just like
he's like frozen.
This isn't even cool. You're supposed to use bullet time in like action scenes. All they're doing is walking away. Like, this is ridiculous. You know, like they show a shot of him on stage and everything just freezes. And Scott Stapp is just looking like a statue, and like the camera just rotates around, and I'm like, this is so ridiculous, man. This is stupid.
What year is it? This is like 2000.
Yeah, dude. Well, it was right after The Matrix came out. Like, if you put it in context, like, I mean, that was
that was top notch, dude. That was cool stuff.
No, that was cool stuff. I'm saying, but to Robert's point, if you were a good producer, you don't take something that was cool at that time, like bullet time filmography, and translate it to sitting in a green room and on stage. You know what I mean? Like, Rob knows what I mean.
Why didn't you? It was like the most mediocre way they could use it.
Oh,
like,
completely,
sitting
dude.
on the couch,
just show us
eating a sandwich,
just show us
taking a leak.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way.
But no, dude, if you go and then watch like With Arms Wide Open, he's like dodging asteroids and like going through an underground river, and then like when you watch what was the?
Maybe that's how he feels when he's singing.
It was just some of the most random choices for music videos, and I'm looking at Scott Stapp and I'm going, dude, poor you, man. Like, you have to be in this video trying
you have to be you. You're so brave. You have to wake up every morning and be you.
Exactly. But here's the thing I'll say. Here's what I'll end with. Go give Creed another chance. If you haven't listened to Creed in a while, go listen to the Weathered album. And here's what I'll tell you. There's an Easter egg waiting for you that is so glorious that I missed way back in the day.
Really?
There's a song on the album called Signs. And in the second verse, you are treated to Scott Stapp yelling the word sex in the most aggressive way.
Hey, do you think he's next? You've been hearing about all these lawsuits in the last month.
Yeah, dude.
Do you think he's next?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah,
he's the next Weinstein.
He might be.
All you hear is him go, "This is not about sex." Sex. That's like the most like.
So, to your point, that's probably one of the things that makes them one of the crappiest bands.
I will say, dude, in my research for this, I actually went on YouTube and I found a video of him performing recently. Two things that I'll say. Number one, he's still got it. As far as vocally, like he at least to me,
he can still sing like he did.
Yeah, it didn't come across as like some old dude trying to relive the hits.
Right.
The second thing I will say is that I think I may be speaking out of turn here. I may be way out in left field, and if I am, I apologize. But I think he went through kind of a rough patch.
Oh yeah,
and
couple times.
what I saw in the video was that a guy who has turned his life around and is like definitely like just on the right track and like trying to like even
focused.
just like some of the causes that he's behind and that he's trying to promote are like really cool. And so, you know, some ways it was just cool to see like, number one, he's still got it. You know, he hasn't gone off the deep end. And number two, like he's trying to do something that like is meaningful and is pretty cool. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is. Now, let me ask you this. If there was ever a Creed reunion, do you think that would be a big deal?
I think
so, dude.
Yeah, I think for some people it would absolutely be a big deal. Like if I heard that Creed was coming back for like a reunion tour and they were going to play their hits and they were going back out on the road, I would definitely buy tickets.
Yeah, I would
definitely buy tickets.
I'd look at the price, but I'd probably go.
I guarantee you that the haters, the people who love to make fun of them, dude, they would be there to buy the tickets because really, dude, they want to see.
Yeah.
all
I
lined
bet you
up
they
in their
would.
Metallica shirts.
Just there's something that tells me, man, that if it happened, we would see a different side of their hits, like almost kind of like in a redone fashion or something like that. You know,
Oh,
like
I'm
the
sure,
guitar
dude.
work would
I'm
be
sure.
so much more intricate. The drumming would be absolutely
I'm
amazing.
sure there are interludes. In
The
between
bass would probably be the same.
For some reason,
Bong,
for some reason,
bong.
as soon as you said that, it made me think of Spinal Tap, where they do the Jazz Odyssey. Creed, the Jazz Odyssey.
Yeah, no, I would definitely go see Creed, man. If they put a tour together, I would.
So-
go.
So all that to say, go give it another chance.
Go give
I
it another
think-
shot.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you go back.
Just don't watch
And
the videos.
Scott Stapp.
Just don't watch
Scott Stapp is the man. There you go. All right,
Yeah,
Drew, what you got,
perfect.
babe?
All right, this one might draw a few less haters than your guys's.
Okay.
I doubt it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and have to go with a good old pop. We'll just say pop.
I'm actually very terrified where you're going now that you've said pop.
We all know them. They were all influential in our lives in some way.
They?
The Backstreet Boys.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh.
Are you really?
Okay, so I'm not basing it just off of, the guys that make up the Backstreet Boys. Okay, so I'm taking this from a live perspective.
Okay.
So it's not
Okay.
just off of the recording, even though the songs are catchy. You might think the words are stupid, and maybe you don't feel that way because you're a grown man.
No, you know what, Drew? I do want it that way, so we're good.
But the musicianship behind that band is absolutely incredible. The production behind those songs is amazing. There's just one thing that's holding it back, and it's 5 grown men dancing while they sing like little kid songs. That's the only
man.
weird thing.
That the sad thing about them, this is why the Backstreet Boys suck. Is because this is
Well,
why
hang on. You can't say this is why, because you're going to give a multitude of reasons.
Oh no, there are going to be a multitude of reasons, but this is the main reason why for anyone who's younger that listens to this, and for anyone that's older, because they are the epitome of New Kids on the Block,
Yeah.
and the Jonas Brothers. Like you almost sound like Disney pop,
Dude, yeah.
and
It's Hanson. It's
yeah,
98 degrees.
You were going to be
it's-
popular for a solid 3 years, 4 years.
They're back.
They're back. Yeah, they're back.
They
now.
have a Las Vegas show.
Are you serious?
They have
They're
a Las
playing Vegas.
Dude, they're signed on for Las Vegas.
opening
Vegas
for
kick out
Wayne
Britney
Newton.
or what?
No, dude, she's still there.
She's still there too.
Dude, that's where
Oh,
all the pop
man.
stars are going. Is
Wow.
Vegas. Dude, yeah. So they have a whole Vegas show now.
That makes sense.
I don't know if there's a band behind them or if they're just
Yeah.
singing to tracks. I don't know that. I saw a live video where they brought a bunch of women up on stage and they got on one knee and they were singing a cappella to them. That made me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. I'm really uncomfortable just thinking about it. Actually,
Elizabeth was like, "Oh, that's so sweet," and I'm like, "Oh, that's really creepy."
Like, no, I'm good.
So guys and girls are very different.
hard pass.
It looked like 5 women singing to 5 women.
No, hard pass.
But I'm gonna say, dude, like the obviously there's a gold mine there. They
Yeah.
were huge. The music behind it is pretty genius.
Yeah.
The musicianship, dude, in their live shows was incredible. They always had fantastic musicians that, they performed songs that did not sound exactly like the record. They did. So I'm gonna have to say they're extremely underrated rock band. I can't even say that.
He can't even say it with a straight face.
No, not at all, dude. He really tried to get it out and just lost it. It was really funny.
Here's what I'll say about Backstreet Boys.
They can sing.
Okay, and that
They can dance.
I was gonna say that's what makes them great, and I think that's where Rob was about to go. So you go first.
Well, okay. I wasn't necessarily going to say that, but I agree with all of that. I will say all the ladies. Okay, when I was in 5th through 8th grade, all the ladies that I had a crush on were in love with the Backstreet Boys. So, I mean, they were
So naturally, you go out and frost the tips.
exactly. That's what you do.
Oh,
That's what you do.
man,
But here's what I will
shame.
say. Here's what I will say nowadays.
I did have frosted tips.
Dude, I did for a while too, man. There's a band photo of me with frosted tips.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh my
Good
God.
point.
You were probably in your
sad.
sugar pine shirt and cargo shorts.
Hey, in our defense, the lead singer from Sum 41 also had frosted tips. Okay.
There you go. See? All right. At least I never wore eyeliner. Anyway, here's what I will say.
It brings out the eyes.
I'm in a band.
I'm in a band.
So here's the deal. If I'm driving in the car and I Want It That Way comes on the radio, I'm gonna change the station. I'm not gonna listen to it, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna give you another guilty pleasure. If I hear on the radio, all of a sudden I hear everybody, I'm not changing it.
No,
I'm not changing it.
You're gonna start
turn
a
it
war,
up,
bro.
I'm not changing the station. I'm not changing the station, and I'm going to turn it up because I'm going to tell you when it gets to that one part, I want to be able to go, Backstreet's back, all right. I want to sing it out. So I'm getting over some strep, so I can't quite hit it right now.
No,
but
it's all good.
That's a moment where I'm going to crank it and I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so but the point is, there's actually amazing things about the music. In the music, that is mine. Love it or hate it. There it is.
Dude, I think some people are going to totally love that. I'll tell you that right now. So, hey, maybe you're a big fan of Nickelback. Maybe you're a big fan of Creed, Backstreet Boys. Maybe you think we are nuts. We want to hear from you. So go ahead and leave some comments either at facebook.com/YouMeHePodcast or on Twitter at YouMeHePodcast. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe you have a band that everybody loves to hate but that you think is amazing. Let's get the conversation going. That would be awesome.
Let's do it.
All right, speaking of keeping the conversation going, this week we have a listener question via Facebook from Nikki Richards. And, dude, I love it. I can't wait to get into this. It's going to be so good.
I'm waiting to hear it.
I'm already anxious.
So she asks, if you could live out your days in any movie or television show world, what would you choose and why?
I got this one.
All right, take it away, Josh.
If I could live in any movie, The Scarlet Letter.
Josh Chillingsworth.
It's because I want to
Explain
sleep
yourself.
forever.
What the heck are you talking about?
That's back when society knew their place. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. He wants to go back to a simpler time where you could easily kill someone if they looked at you the wrong way.
And for anyone who's taking me serious, I'm totally joking right now. Because if I could live in a world, I know it would be super dangerous, dude, but it would also be like completely adventurous. Game of Thrones is really appealing.
Oh my God, dude. No.
Are you serious?
Too much stress.
Okay, so when I was,
I'm not saying I want to be Ned Stark. I'm saying I want to live in the world.
No, dude. When I was thinking about this, I was like, oh man, Game of Thrones is my favorite show right now. And then I was like, no, that would be the worst one to live in. Everyone dies.
Yeah.
Everyone wants, hey, be careful, no spoilers, but everybody wants to kill somebody, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. No, it's not looking good. You know, your chances of living aren't that great.
I just think it depends on who you are, man.
It probably would be super fun if you love cold weather, not modern clothing, no shoes.
Lots of wine.
Yeah.
You're winning me over as of right now.
Oh my gosh. Like, keep going.
Out in public. If anyone has a problem, I'll just smash their face.
I don't know, man. You know, it's if I could choose any character from Game of Thrones to be
Hound.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, yeah. Perfect. See, because that dude has survived a lot of stuff so far,
and he's got a great scar, dude.
Yeah,
it's
dude. And
scary.
no one really wants to kill him as of right now. I think
everyone
people hate him.
Everyone wants to kill him.
Oh, maybe
no one likes him.
Well, he can take care of himself. So,
dude, even when he changes sides and he's now fighting for different people, still those people don't like him.
They don't like him,
but he's a great fighter.
Yeah, but I mean, they haven't tried to kill him yet, or. Dang it, I'm blanking on his name. What's the other guy's name? Came from the Wildlings. Ginger.
Ginger.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
I'm blanking. I don't know why, but man, that guy's awesome.
You just want to be a barbarian, dude.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna die.
He's the comic relief.
Point, but yeah,
also.
I think he's
that show desperately needed some because I was anxious after every episode.
Yeah. So I think that's one place I would not mind living. I'm not going to try and go start fights, and I definitely don't want to wear the crown. I'm just saying in that atmosphere, it'd be pretty cool.
So except
for the zombie war. Yeah,
The
White Walker War. That's gonna suck, man.
So on mine, when I was going
Winter
through
is
this, I
coming.
didn't know exactly what I was going to pick, but it said definitely not Game of Thrones. So yeah, we're on opposite sides of that
Yeah,
one.
okay,
It
that's
seems
perfect.
cool in certain areas.
Let
for
me guess.
certain
Let me
times.
guess. Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, I'm Bernie.
Dang it.
All the partying without the hangover.
Or is it the ultimate hangover?
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, well, what about you, Drew? If it's not Game of Thrones and it's not Weekend at Bernie's, which seems like the obvious choice, then what's it going to be?
One that came to my mind, this isn't the one that I was thinking, but I thought Groundhog Day.
You do realize he tried to kill himself like 75 times, or didn't try. He succeeded at killing himself like 75 times,
And he always came back.
I know.
Dude, I would go skydiving. I would jump off a waterfall.
That's how much he hated it.
Yeah, no, I know, but he was using it wrong. Okay?
He was using it wrong.
That's true. If I could go back to Groundhog Day when I was 22, then you might have a point.
Dude, it could be
might
awesome.
have a
It could
point,
be,
yeah.
other than the Sonny and Cher song every morning,
Oh,
it would
gosh,
probably
dude.
be great. And the lady asks, about the breakfast and how was your sleep. Maybe wait 10 minutes before you go outside. Other than that would be pretty rad. But that one was not the one that I picked. That was just
that's
spur of the moment.
Just a topic. Okay.
If I was going to be in a show for real, I would probably be in Walking Dead, dude.
What?
Yeah.
You are crazy.
Dude, that's just as like
No.
anxiety spurring.
No, dude. No.
Yeah, it is.
No. People dodge death in that show constantly. No one dodges death
Because
in Game
there
of Thrones.
wouldn't be a story if they didn't.
Yeah, good old Glenn. He dodged the heck out of it, didn't he?
No. Game of Thrones.
Abraham saw it coming.
Actually,
And he didn't move. He didn't budge.
Glenn dodged death for a long time,
Yeah, he
dude.
did.
That's true.
He should have died a long time ago. But he stuck around. In Game of Thrones, that doesn't really happen to anybody, except for maybe like Jaime Lannister. You don't really see that happen to anybody else.
I'm
dude.
sorry, man. Which is really funny because I'm choosing to live in Game of Thrones. You're choosing to live in Walking Dead, and each one is each other's favorite show.
Yeah.
That's really ironic. But here's where I feel like you're wrong, man. Like that is like the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Finding a group that gives you some sort of contentment and safety is really difficult to find. At least in Game of Thrones, like there are sides that are chosen. Like there is safety at night.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? The difference is that in The Walking Dead, people are fighting for survival, and in the Game of Thrones, people are fighting for other people.
okay.
So wait, so besides dodging death, that's not the main reason though why you want. What is it
Dude,
that's appealing about it?
You know what, man? I think it's the team building.
Oh my
The simpler
God.
times.
Well, what is
The
this,
simpler
summer
times.
camp?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. All right.
No, I don't
get
know.
it.
I don't know, man. It's a show that I like to watch. I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the colonies, and how people, it's sort of how people work together.
I got you. I can't knock you. I do see the appeal.
You never know what your day is going to be like the next day. Same
Yeah.
as for Game of Thrones, but I would rather get shot in the head than stabbed in the stomach. Personally,
True.
I'd rather it just go lights out than me
if you gotta
drowning my
pick
own
one.
blood for the next 10 minutes.
I guess you got a point.
Actually, the Hound lived like how many days? That was probably miserable, dude.
Probably was.
Where's the zombie to come take a bite out of my face to end this thing?
No, I got you. I get it. I see where you're coming from.
Or Groundhog Day.
Or let's go back to
So whatever.
Rob, what's yours, man?
All right, here's the deal. You guys both picked, these amazing worlds that are high adventure and just, the fight for survival. I did not pick that. I picked
X-Men
a place. Yeah, exactly.
Cyclops' house.
Oh my God. I picked a place where it's a little more predictable. I picked a place where the coffee is always hot. And
Cheers?
There's always,
Oh, wait, no, there's beer.
no.
Warm beer. No wonder the show sucks.
Oh my God. I picked a place where the coffee's always hot, and the worst thing you have to worry about is what sort of shenanigans Kirk is going to be up to. I'm talking about Gilmore Girls.
Please explain this one.
Have you guys ever watched Gilmore Girls?
No.
No.
Never.
Dudes.
Last time
I guess I can't say anything because Backstreet Boys was mine.
I chose Nickelback, and I want to live in Game of Thrones. I'm apparently the only man in this conversation.
Except you did choose Nickelback.
Ooh, point
Ouch.
Okay, here's the deal. Let me paint this picture for you, okay? Because there's going to be people who, as soon as I said Gilmore Girls, they're going to be like, yes, amazing. It takes place in this small town on the East Coast that is, dude, it's just this place where everything, the worst thing you got to worry about, like I said, is just like the shenanigans that the village idiot is up to, because the coffee's hot. There's always something wholesome going on around the corner. Like the little grocery store is owned by the same guy who owns the candy store. And he's kind of a jerk, but he's also kind of a nice guy at the same time. And it's just, dude.
So it's like the Andy Griffith show. Okay, so does the village idiot, is he like breaking the law? Is that why you have to watch out for him?
No, he's talking to us right now.
Oh my. Nah, dude. Kirk is just like, dude, he's that lovable, but also like you're kind of afraid that he might stalk you kind of guy. Like imagine the best of Dwight Schrute mixed with
there's
the best
one,
of
The
like,
Office.
Yeah, I could be in that one.
Yeah, you should have chosen that one, dude.
man, Gilmore Girls, baby.
Wait, so is this like is this a recent show or is this an older show? I don't know.
No. So the original Gilmore Girls ran probably like in the mid 2000s, I think, or early 2000s. I think it was like one of those like CW, WB shows.
Okay.
But they did like this like reboot, like basically like a 4-episode miniseries to kind of like where are they now sort of thing that they did via Netflix that was atrocious. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about old school, original, OG Gilmore Girls. And dude, the grandpa is the dad from Richie Rich. It's amazing. You're going to love it.
I'm sure I won't.
And he'll pay for your Harvard education. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So there's some people that are going to agree with me. It's going to resonate.
Well, you know, at least it's a
gosh.
low stress living environment. You
Dude.
know, from what I can imagine, I guess.
Dude, there's always something wholesome happening in the town square. They're doing some festival
it's
to
a show
celebrate
about
cantaloupes
great
or
things.
something. Yeah, dude.
Happiness.
Okay. Sure.
You know what, man? That makes me feel like I'm like jaded by the world. You know, like we pick like these nasty, gnarly shows to live in, and he's like, "Oh man, candy, lollipops." It's a Katy Perry music video.
That's right. That's right. Stars Hollow, baby. I'm coming to get you.
I'm starting to feel like there's something wrong with me.
Yeah, me too.
So, hey, we would love to hear what your choices would be as well. If there's a movie or there's a TV show that's the world that you would spend the rest of your days, what is it? And we can also talk about how amazing Gilmore Girls is. So just throw it out there. It's all good.
You can talk with Rob about how amazing Gilmore Girls is.
Hey, you know what? Spend the rest of your days, though, you would have more than we would have in our shows.
Right.
You might actually see the ripe old age of 90.
Great grandkids.
The ripe old age of 45.
Our great grandkids would never even know our names.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to talk Gilmore Girls, hit me up. Let's do this. At facebook.com/YouMeHe Podcast or at Twitter, on Twitter at YouMeHe Podcast. And Gilmore Girls all day, all night. Love it.
Oh, gosh.
We'll listen to Creed and watch Gilmore Girls. All right. With that, hey, let's take it to Socrates. So, fellas, after everything that we've talked about tonight, and we have hit some high highs and some low lows, what advice would you give to a younger you?
I think I would have to tell myself, you know what? Stay strong. Because one day you will have a conversation about Nickelback and everyone's going to agree with you. Finally.
Vindication.
Vindication.
That's amazing.
I was thinking about, the day that someone approached me about collecting signatures for money. And I just thought to myself, if I could go back in time, I would go to the day before that and be like, dude, when someone comes and talks to you about this, just walk away. Just don't do it. Yeah, hard pass. Not interested. I'll go jobless. Thanks.
I'm good.
I think I would sit down with a younger me, look myself square in the eye, and say, you know what? Invite over bearded Captain America and eye patch Thor, and we're going to watch some Gilmore Girls, and nobody's going to think less of me for it because it's going to be amazing. And we're going to listen to Creed, and we're going to be best friends.
Oh, man.
Hey, with that, we just want to say thank you so much for listening to the show and supporting the show. Make sure you're hitting those 5-star ratings, that you're leaving us those reviews on iTunes. It means so much, and it helps us out a lot. And hey, until next time, I am Rob Lambert.
This is Josh Frankenstein.
Drew Carroll. Hey, by the way, Rob, I just wanted to tell you that your hosting today was really on fleek.
Oh, my God.